Thanks, Kendra. Hi, my name's Rick Gertz. I'm the coordinator of the game development program. Welcome everybody here today. What we're going to try to do, go through this session is give you a good idea of the programs that the college offers and how we kind of progress or take students from first year all the way to kind of third year. Okay, so this is kind of the outline. So we're going to talk about the programs, what the program focuses on, and some of the faculty, the acquired skills that you're going to have as a student, the skills you need to have when you come in and the skills you should have when you leave, how you progress year to year. So what do we do in first year, second year, and third year? We're going to show you a little bit of student demo work so you can get a good idea of what to expect. Give you a little rundown in terms of the game development labs. We haven't used them in the last year and a half or so, but they are still there and they might be a bit dusty, but the dust's coming off soon, I think. Some collaborations. Our program, the game development program, collaborates with several other programs in the college to kind of broaden your experience there. Talk about some events and trips that we typically go on pre-COVID. So those could come back up as soon as restrictions ease. And some student recognition and some success stories. And we also have Jake Hardy here, who's a third year student. He's going to talk to you about, yeah, there he is, waving, about his experience at Niagara for the first two and a half years, and kind of what to expect. So that's kind of what the presentation is going to encompass. So we might as well get to it. All right, so at Niagara College, there is 3 programs that we really offer. We're going to spend most of the time talking about the advanced diploma, which is a 3-year advanced diploma degree, or not just it's advanced diploma, it's not a degree. So that's 3 years. It covers all aspects or the main 3 pillars of game development, which is art production, game design, and programming. Then we also have a joint program with Brock University, which is a BSc in game programming and our BA in game design. Those are 4 years, and you kind of you register that through Brock. So if anybody's here to in respect of that program, you can answer, we can ask those questions at the end, but since both programs or all 3 degrees cover most of the courses that we do in the advanced diploma, we're going to kind of focus on that program for this presentation anyway. Okay, I've already said that game development diploma concentrates really on those 3 aspects: programming, art production, and game design. There's other programs out there that will focus on one and or the other, but the game development program focuses on all 3. So you get to touch all areas of game development, which is great. Faculty. All our full-time faculty possess extensive game development experience, whether it's AAA studios, MMOs, indie game studios. A lot of them are published, and a lot of our part-time professors in the program, most of the ones that are here today are full-time, but our part-time people typically work in the indie studios and teach a course or 2 and bring their expertise to us that way. So, all right, we're gonna do our introductions as we go along. So as the professors grab their slides, they can maybe do a quick brief introduction in terms of who they are and what area they teach in. So. Okay, so we're going to go to acquired skills, and Gina Grossi is going to take over that, talk about the programming in terms of acquired skills. Gina, you want to take the book?
Sure, thanks, Rick. Hi, everyone. My name is Gina Grossi. I teach programming in the game development program here at Niagara College. I have previous experience, about 14 years experience working as a programmer in the game industry, and I've been teaching at Niagara College for about 9 years now. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about what to expect in terms of skills for this program. We first assume that you have no knowledge at all about programming. So we start you right from the beginning. The languages that we use are C++ and C#. We start with that in the first year. And we use the development environment Visual Studio. So some of you who have experience may have heard of that before. It's popular and it's available, free to use. It's a community version. At the beginning, we start off creating simple text-based games. And then as we learn more skills, we create larger games that include some graphics, but they're still pretty simple games by the end of the first year. We create game scripts using the Unity game engine as well. And then in year 2 and 3, you take more advanced courses, more advanced topics and advanced programming concepts, then courses in mobile applications and computer graphics, networking, and artificial intelligence. So that by the time that you're doing your 3rd year project, you have all the skills that you need to create and design your own game. So that's
okay. Connor, you want to take over art production there?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Connor McNeil. I've worked in the digital arts industry for over 20 years now. primarily as a 3D animator and illustrator. And yeah, on the art side, it's going to be fairly similar to what Gina said. Our expectations coming into the program are that you haven't really got much of an art background. So anything you have there is a bonus. You know, if you have a chance this summer and throughout the rest of the year to take art courses, maybe dabble in some software. There's a lot of open source programs that are available these days. So things like Blender, and, you know, in certain high schools, Autodesk, which is what we use. So yeah, we don't expect you to know anything on the art side coming in. And then our first year, really our first semester is very kind of focused on teaching you the traditional skills to get you up and running on the art side. And then, yeah, the first year we also try to touch on all the different software packages that you'll be using at your time on the college. So yeah, first semester, you're going to focus on kind of Photoshop and traditional arts. Second semester, you're going to be jumping into 3D. You also have a course that gives you a taste of a lot of the other software packages that we'll be using. So Substance Designer, Painter, a lot of the Adobe suite, so Illustrator, After Effects, Mudbox. So we primarily use the Autodesk suite for our 3D. So 3D Studio Max is our primary 3D package. Mudbox is what we use for our high poly sculpting. And yeah, the first year is really all about just kind of getting up and running on the art side and getting used to all the different software that we will be using throughout our time here. The other big one that we'll be getting into is Unity. And then second year, you know, it kind of gets a little bit more specific, where we're really kind of trying to build skills for game design. So you're going to be working on laying out levels in 3D worlds in our environment class. You're going to be working on designing and building characters, getting them rigged and up and running in the character class. And yeah, you'll also in second year have your first kind of team project where you're working on a side scroller. And that is kind of the second year experience. In third year, you know, you have a lot of the skills, so it's about kind of expanding them. You get a lot more freedom in third year. And like Gina was saying, third year, you know, the bulk of the experience in third year is about your capstone project, where you're working in a team environment to build your own games. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything on the art side. Kev, did I miss anything there? Anything you want to add in? Okay. All right. So yeah, I'll pass it on to Frank to talk about design.
Hello, my name is Frank Kinezich. I am a professor at Niagara College. I used to work in the video game industry, about 5 years in AAA studios, 5 years in indie studios. Switched to being a professor about 3 years ago. I teach primarily design courses, but some programming. And in first year, we're going to be talking a lot about just general design ideas. What makes a game? What makes a game fun? We'll look at breaking down the rules of video games. And I think a big part of that course is the board game assignment, which students are working on possibly as we speak. And they're really interesting. They do some fun stuff there. I'm assuming we'll be back in class and we will be, you know, making physical board games, which is always fun to see what students do. In the next term, we start to look like we kind of shift completely to Unity and understanding how to use a game engine to build a game and understand all the components and how they work together. And you'll make your own 2D vertical scrolling shooter. Students have a lot of fun with that. You get to make your own art and have the game look however you want it to look. And the second year, we get into more of the details of how to design games, including narrative design, character design. We we review some of the ideas of what makes games meaningful. I think that's a big thing, the idea of choice and interaction in games. And second term, it's your first experience in groups making a game. It's a kind of a precursor for your big third year project where you make a 2D side scroller. And students have made really cool stuff with that as well. So I think there's a few less courses on the design side, but they tend to be pretty fun and talking about, video games a lot and why we like them.
Okay, thanks, Frank. I'll just talk about that last point on that slide, which is transferable skills. Like, you have to understand that a lot of the skills that you're going to learn, especially in the programming and art production side, are transferable to other industries in terms of software development. This is really, we kind of put this point in here for parents because they wonder if my child just learns how to do video games, what kind of skills do they have and how do those transfer over? And they transfer over really, really, really well to a lot of other industries in terms of problem solving, programming, software development, as well as art production, film, TV. So those skills are transferable for sure. So, okay, so next slide is going to be, we're going to introduce Kevin, and the slide's all yours, Kev.
All right, thanks, Rick. As Rick said, my name is Kevin, Kevin Gordon. I've been in the program for about 8 years teaching. Prior to that, 20 years in the industry working on game art. So I'm on the art side like Connor is. So I'm just going to give you a little rundown on basically our year-to-year progression. And, Frank, Gina, and Connor kind of already touched on it a little bit. But one thing to make note of is that we expect no experience in any of the disciplines when you come into our program. Our first year is about building foundational skills. So it's foundational in programming, design, art, every aspect. And just like when you build a house, the foundation is very important. If we look at the Leaning Tower of Pisa, maybe they should have built a better foundation and maybe it wouldn't be tipping over. So it's very crucial that we look at those foundational skills. In your first year, most of the projects that you work on are isolated individual projects. So people get a little excited that they want to start building games right away, but we have to build those things first. So second year, we move into expanding our expertise, and we start to bring these into more group projects. You get to expand them into more game contextual things. Like was mentioned, we start building environments, we start building little games, we start building characters, we start building all of the large elements that we need to have. At this point, you may start to figure out disciplines that you're really connected to. And we've had a number of people that have come into the program in first year thinking, well, I'm only a programmer. But by about halfway through first year, moving into second year, they're like, actually, you know what? I really enjoy doing the art as well. And they find that there's a massive area that they can expand into. So then finally, we take all of that stuff that we've learned into third year, where you start to get into teams with your peers and with different people within the program, and you're going to build or design and build your own capstone project. So the first semester of third year is all what's called pre-production, planning, scheduling, doing your concept work, building out systems, determining mechanics, all of those types of things. The second semester in third year is making a game. So we see that progression where we start to build early, you bring things together, and then at the final, you get a capstone project where you get to walk away with a really amazing project that you've built from the ground up.
Okay, thanks, Kev.
All right. So next, I will take that one as well. So with the student work that we do, and what you're going to see here is at the bottom, you'll see all of our images, and those are posters of some of our capstone projects. As part of your capstone project, you get to build a really cool game poster that we have hanging throughout our labs. So we give you most of the cases creative freedom. We want you to feel, empowered and connected to the work that you're doing. Now, we do give you framework and resource limitations and those types of things. But all of the projects that you work on, for the most part, you get to come up with the narrative, the idea, what theme you want to do, what art style, a lot of those things. So we're always really focused on allowing you to feel like you're kind of driving your own bus. We're just going to try to keep you on the road and guide you in the right direction. So I believe Rick is going to show some of our previous artworks that we have in some of our courses.
Yeah, I'm just going to go through the YouTube demo, which I'll give you guys all the link to after, but let me just change my screen share here.
So, and with this too, we're always trying to update this and bring things in. So one thing we speak to most of our students very regularly is, from day one, think about a portfolio. think about presenting your artwork down the road. It's always very important to start to collect things. And we will start to update these videos that we do as we go through the program year to year to year. So these here are second year game environments. And again, the theme is up to each student. They build them from the ground up. We start with a design document. We go through the narrative, the backstory, all of those things. We do some concept work, and then we get into building out a full level with terrain, foliage, plants, 3D model geometry, and we get into all kinds of setups with scripts, functionality, and those types of things. We also have some mini games that we link between animation and some of the programming courses, where you get to play with a little bit of AI.
Sorry, Kev, I jumped to character stuff.
It's okay. You're driving the bus. So, so here we have some first year projects, which is just some digital sculpting that we do in Mudbox, as Connor mentioned earlier. So again, you come up with the theme and the idea, and then you get to go in and just build this artwork, and we come up with this final rotation. So again, you're going to see a wide range of themes and styles that the students choose.
Every time I look at this, everything, I don't know why everything has to be so scary. Like, it's always just scary. People you don't want to meet in a dark alley. I don't know what goes on in the art class.
There's some nice, delightful.
Yeah,
things
this guy's a nice, delightful guy, Kev. Now he's good. Oh, well, that's okay. All right.
Case in point.
Case in point. Oh, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe this is.
We give the students free reign.
That's right. So, all right, I'm going to jump to the animation section if that's all right.
Okay. And this here is our second year character design. In your second semester of second year, you get to, like a game environment, now you get to build a character from the ground up as well, starting from the narrative, the lore, the backstory, who is the character, emotions, all those types of things, all the way to modeling it, animating it, and getting it functioning inside of the Unity game engine, where we can control it and move it around a level. Students have a lot of fun with this project. It's a lot of work though. Game development is very different than playing games.
This is like my favorite one.
We always have to have the robot doing the robot.
Kind of dances like you do, Kev.
Incorrect.
I'm just kidding. I've never seen Kevin dance.
I'm being very nice today.
All right, I'm going to flip my screen share back.
All right. Thank you. Off to whoever's next.
I believe that's Gina. You're going to talk about the development labs.
Yeah, sure. So as you can see on the slides there, you can see that each lab has high-end computers with dual monitors. We have about 4 labs dedicated to game development in the Simcoe building at the Welland campus. All classes are held in the lab. Of course, not right now. Right now we're online, but when we're in person, we are all teaching in one of these labs. So that means that you are seated at the computer while the professor is teaching the concept. All the work can be completed on the computers in the lab. So all the computers have the proper software installed for art, design, and programming. So as the professor is teaching something, you can practice the concept right there, regardless of the class that you're in, art, design, or programming. Having the classes held in the lab is very important because it allows us to keep our class sizes small. There's about 25 students per each class. And the labs are always open 24 hours a day. So you definitely have enough time to work on the lab for whatever class you have an assignment for. Security is important since the labs are open 24 hours a day. If you're working on the lab at night, security guards do come around and ask you for a security pass. So you have to carry a security pass to make sure that you're allowed to be in the lab. So it's safe and secure for you to do your work. So I think that's about everything.
Okay, thanks, Gina. Connor, you want to talk about some program collaborations?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, our game development programs, just one of the programs in the Niagara College School of Media. And we're a big family of creative programs, and we try to tie into them whenever possible. So yeah, we've tied in with our acting department, where they've done a lot of voice work for us for our third year capstone games. We also have tied in with them on animation projects where the actors are providing reference for animation. We also have tied in with our graphic design department, where they've helped us with developing posters and also websites to kind of promote the game. So when we get into kind of the marketing aspects. And yeah, we've also tied in with the broadcasting department, where they've helped us with audio work. So yeah, whenever possible, we like to try to collaborate with the different programs. We also have tied it in with our PR program when it comes to launching the game. So every year at the end, prior to COVID, we would have a big game launch kind of celebration where all the games are showcased. We had it last year too, virtually. But yeah, we're looking forward to getting back to being in the real space for that. And yeah, our PR program has helped us kind of market and push that. So it's been a lot of fun. And yeah, I think that's probably about it. So I will pass it on.
All right, Gina, here you go. Events and trips.
Events and trips. So there's a lot of opportunities. Connor mentioned some for students to socialize and network. For all students, at the end of the year, each year we have something called GD Launch. It's their year-end show for students to show their work to each other and also members of the industry. So we invite members of the industry to come in and to view their work. It's a great networking opportunity where you can begin to develop relationships with members of the industry, whether you are in year 1, year 2, or year 3. Other events that students have participated in are Comic-Con in Niagara Falls. Students in the past have shown their work where members of that have taken the attendees of Comic-Con have played their games. And there's also opportunity for students to volunteer at the event to get you free access to the event as well. So that's a bonus. And then within the college, we do offer game jams or hold game jams. And those are social events where students can create groups or put themselves into groups and compete in game creation competitions. So that's always a lot of fun. It usually happens on weekends. And then the second year, students always take a class field trip to the ROM to use this as research for their environment course. It's always been very popular. I think students always really enjoy going to the ROM. Again, I think the last 2 years, we haven't been able to do that, but hoping to do that in the future real soon. And then finally, in year 3, there's something called Level Up. And again, it's another networking event, but this time it's with students from across Ontario, from universities and colleges across Ontario that have game development programs. It's another opportunity in year 3 to showcase your project work. In year 3, you do a capstone project and you're able to bring it down to the showcase. It's in Toronto every year so far. And you showcase your work to other students, your peers, that will be your peers in the industry in other colleges and universities, but also again, members of the industry come and you're able to explain your work to them. So it's a great networking opportunity right before you graduate as well. And our students have done well. For the next slide, we'll see that our students have done well in this particular event in recent years.
Thanks, Gina.
Yep.
All right, Frank.
Yes, so student recognition, as Gina was alluding to, we've had some great success with students being recognized for their work at various competitions and internally. So the Level Up Showcase, that's the top left picture there. That's a contest, or sorry, that's not, that's Ubisoft Next, my bad. Level Up Showcase is a showcase with all the different post-secondary education institutions that all the students with game development programs showcase their games. It's a huge event. if we're like a Niagara E3, Level Up is like an Ontario E3. It's pretty big. That would be the bottom right picture, and the side right and all the bottom pictures are people being recognized at Level Up. And recently, so we've had a lot of teams win prizes at that. So the Bad Manners game you see there won, I think, best co-op experience, or was second for best co-op and second for art, I believe. So, and then a Niagara team that did Firebreaker was a VR experience that won a lot of design awards and VR awards. So we've actually been having great success there, and it's great to see. I think it reflects great on the program and the hard work of our students, which is just getting better and better. And we have also the Ubisoft Next competition, which is a way for all the different disciplines of games, design, programming, character art, animation. It's a contest that Ubisoft holds for post-secondary students to showcase their skills in particular disciplines. And any student can enter this, and we've had our students do quite well in that. In the top left, Wes is second from the left. They won the programming competition and did quite well, and I think are now working, or they were at Ubisoft. I don't know if they still are, to be honest. I think so. I don't know for sure. But we also have The Fallen, which was a game that Niagara College students did for their capstone project. And we worked with them to kind of turn it into a game on Steam over the summer. We kind of did a mini incubator project and had them, taking the game to the next level, getting it prepared to launch on Steam. And it's had a lot of downloads. It's had a lot of exposure and coverage locally, which was really cool. And just in general, we have a lot of grads that move on to AAA studios, indie studios, kind of everywhere in between. Some start their own projects. And we stay in contact with a lot of them. We kind of hear what they're doing, what they've been up to, games they're working on. So, there's a lot of Niagara students. The program is relatively young, but like making their way into the industry, reinforcing the quality of the program, and, coming back and sharing and collaborating with us.
All right, thanks, Frank. All right, so now we have the student experience. So I'm going to hand it over to Jake Hardy. Is you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. Hey.
Hi there. I didn't see it because you were off video.
Yeah.
So I was just going to talk to you about these 3 questions. So Jake, take it away.
Yep. Hi, I'm Jake Hardy. I'm a 3rd-year game development student at Niagara College. So why I chose Niagara, there's a couple different reasons that all kind of culminated together. So I have a lot of friends and just acquaintances from like high school and elementary that have gone through this program. They liked it a lot. They've had a lot of success in it. I live close by, which helps a lot too. I prefer like practical hands-on learning that colleges usually give over to university. I've gone to a game development program at a university, which I wasn't really a huge fan of just because of the more academic theoretical learning environment. I chose it because the faculty are all industry professionals. That's a big one. It's hard to understate that one because it's really important, I find. And then I also attended the Level Up Student Games Expo in, I think, 2016 or 2017. And obviously all the games there are really good, and Niagara was no exception. So I knew that they were producing quality work. So what I love about being a student at Niagara College, again, the faculty are all really professional and helpful. And that's been a lot of help in especially like my learning environment. I really like the help and assistance that everybody gives when I need it. The collaborative learning experience. So there's a ton of different group projects, learning how to learn and work as a team, which I think is a really important skill to have, especially in the industry, because game development is 99% of the time a collaborative experience. And the in-person experience, this is a really personal one. I really like the labs. I really like third floor Simcoe. When we went there, or my first year was when they renovated the lounge area. So it's really nice up there, and it feels like a home, especially when you're working really late at night and trying to crunch out those projects. Having 24/7 access to the labs is really cool, and I'm really excited to go there next semester, hopefully. So and how I feel supported by the NC faculty, staff, and services. So I kind of answered that a little bit. So everybody's always there to answer questions if you have it. People are able to help at different levels of expertise. So if you're like me and you're not super good at art, the professors will help you with by explaining it in a way that's friendly to programmers. But if you're on the opposite side, if you're really good at programming or you're really good at art, the professors all encourage you to, try and expand your skill set and push harder and learn to do things that aren't necessarily like required by an assignment, but will help you develop additional skills. Yeah, the one-on-one support, if you need it as well, helps a lot. And then the kind of bringing it back to the labs, having open labs as like a service is really helpful to me. I like working with people in groups, not even if it's like a group project, but if it's just being in an environment where people are all working in a space helps me be productive. So yeah, that's it for me, I think. So yeah.
All right, thanks, Jake. You guys are welcome to ask Jake. I just got a couple more slides to go through, but when we hit the Q&A, you feel free to hit Jake with some questions as well. All right, so this last page, and I think Kendra mentioned this would be recorded, so you guys can take a screenshot of it. So these are some of the program sites that you might want to go to. There's the Niagara College page. There's our demo reel. I kind of scrubbed through it a little bit quickly because it's about 8 minutes long, so you can see, you can watch it at your leisure in terms of some of the other student content on that page. Some frequent questions we get in terms of what is the industry, what are the job opportunities, those types of things. There is an awesome site, the Entertainment Association of Canada, which has all sorts of metrics on jobs, game genres, like what genres and what game platforms are really popular, what the growth of the industry should be, what it has been in the past, what hiring practices are, salary information. So all those types of things you can kind of get to via those couple links. One is just the general one, and this one will actually give you a rundown. They do a deep dive into the industry every couple of years and then post it on a big PDF, and it's actually quite easy to read, lots of charts and awesome information just about the game industry as a whole. So those are some links that you guys can grab to take a look at. Again, the top one is just the program, so you can kind of see Niagara College's programs and things like that up there. So Frank, we have any questions out there?
We have no questions yet.
Oh, well, that just means we all did
questions.
such a good job.
So, okay, we got some from Justin here. 2 questions. What's the pass rate of the people who take this course, and how do I apply, and when should I apply?
Kendra, you want to take the application part?
Absolutely. So the applications are currently open. You're going to apply through Ontario Colleges, OCAS. I will put the link into the tab right now. That's when you're going to apply. You can have your application open now as well. We did start to this year offer early acceptances. So there are early acceptances that go out, but you want to make sure you have your application in by minimum February 1st, just to make sure you're equally considered. I will put that link in right there.
Okay, thanks. And Frank, what was the other part of that question?
What's the pass rate of the people who take this course?
We call that an attrition rate, and this often happens at universities and schools. We don't, and it kind of varies year to year. I would say we try to take in 75 students in first year. By second year, we're probably down to 50 or so. But that's the big drop off. And then probably we might lose, 4 or 5 between then. So we might end up with 45 in a typical year, but it varies year to year. The reason for some of that the drop off initially is, first of all, some students kind of think game development's just going to be a lot of fun and they kind of jump in there, but it's actually a lot of work. It's like watching a movie. Watching a movie, you just get the enjoyment out of it, but there's a lot of work that goes on behind making the movie. Game industry is very much the same. When you're playing the game, that's the end product. There's an awful lot of work and technology and thought that goes behind it. And some students don't realize that. It's kind of behind the curtain stuff, and they're really entertained by games. So oftentimes we ask students to know themselves a little bit. If you've got a game in your head that you want to make, or you have ideas about what you could make to make a particular game that you play better, or a lot of game ideas, those are kind of things. Those are the thoughts that kind of, for students that kind of succeed in the program. If you just walk away from a game and say, hey, that was awesome, I loved playing that game, and don't consider all the other things about how it was made, that means in my view, you're more of a game player, not a game maker. So think about that when you're applying. So, and I think Kendra can probably speak to this too, or the registrar's office too. A lot of students, when they come out of school, they pick a program and they just kind of find it's maybe not for them, and that's what happens too. So you lose programs. Students shift around a lot in the first kind of year of programs. So that's kind of the best way I can answer that.
There are some prep programs too, if you're like not 100% certain. There's college exploration programs that allow you to kind of take a few classes from a bunch of different areas to kind of help you pick the best program for yourself if you're kind of debating between a couple. You can always look for academic advisors. They're always willing to chat with people. I'll put the academic advisor link in the chat as well.
Thanks.
Okay, so Lucas had asked, can I book a tour today? I think Kendra put links in the chat for booking tours. So just take a look there.
Kendra, you're in business. Look at that.
And I'm going to tie a couple here together. So Judy was asking, how does it tie in with Brock? And is there a difference in the courses? And related to that from Lucas, are there any postgraduate courses for enhancement? And also to clarify, for the Bachelor of Arts Science, you need to apply through the university portal, correct?
Yeah, anything going through the BSc program or the BA program goes through the university application process. Yeah.
But I think there's also questions as to what that is. Exactly.
Yeah, so the BA, if I contrast in the BA, the game development program that we just kind of mostly talked about is that you touch all sides, right? You all touch all sides of game development. With the BSc and the BA, you're kind of more restricted. You're more streamed. So the BSc is a Bachelor of Science in game programming. So you spend a lot of time at Brock in programming courses. You do not take all the art courses in the game development program. Likewise, if you're in the BA side, you will take all the art courses at Niagara and some at Brock as well. But you will not take very many, if any, of the programming courses that are available. So it's very streamed. Then that's kind of the difference between the two. You do get both credentials in 4 years. So you would get a BA or a BSc as well as the 3-year game development diploma. So it's kind of like you get, the diploma credential as well as the honors degree credential in the 4 years.
Okay, so this one is from Lachlan. Following on Justin's questions, what's the rate of acceptance for applicants?
Typically, we have about 300 applicants for our 3-year game development program. And for the other two, there's probably 400 or 500 between the two programs.
And I guess, sorry, one thing we didn't really address from Lucas's was, are there any postgraduate courses for enhancement?
We don't offer any postgrads, but there are some out there for sure at other institutions. And I think Brock has just started a postgrad or a master's in game studies after that too. So that's something that you could probably get to, but you need an undergraduate degree before you can take a master's. So you'd have to be thinking about a degree stream as opposed to a diploma stream.
So we answered one of the Q&A questions live, but there's two relating to the same subject from Max and Jacob. When we apply, do we need a portfolio? And can you talk a bit about portfolio requirements?
To apply to the Niagara program, there's no portfolio required. And there is it's not a portfolio if you're applying to the BA or BSc programs. There is a statement of interest, which is basically a little bit of an essay explaining why you want to get into the game industry and what kind of skills and interests that you might have could benefit that industry. So on the BA, BSc side, you have an essay that you have to submit that gets reviewed along with your marks. On the Niagara College side, there is no portfolio requirement.
And Justin had a follow-up. How many get in from the 300 that apply? Are we around 75?
Yeah, max would be 75.
Okay. From St. Mary's John prayer meeting, what are job opportunities that come with the game development programs?
I'm going to throw that one off to Connor because he runs our business of gaming course. So he's more privy to that kind of stuff. Connor?
Yeah, sure. So, first off, the industry's been booming kind of globally for the last decade here, at least. I don't know if you've been following the boom that's happened over COVID, but, we've seen a lot more growth there. Canada per capita right now has more jobs than almost any other country in the world. A lot of these are in Quebec. Montreal's become a huge hub in the world, and you know, Toronto as well, Vancouver as well. So yeah, you know, it's a good time for getting into the industry for sure. One thing I know we always talk about is, you know, you have to be ready to take your opportunities when they come along. They're not always there. You know, there's been years where for whatever reason nobody's hiring, and you know, people, very talented people come out and there just isn't jobs. Right now, there's a huge boom, and yeah, there's a lot of jobs in the industry right now. And you know, I guess one thing we kind of touched upon a little bit is just there's a lot of niche positions in the industry as well, right? So, I mean, you could be doing something very specific. You could, you know, just be working on mocap or working as an animator or working, you know, there's so many different things you can be doing in the industry too at this point. So I don't know, did that answer the question? Was there any?
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe specifically like what types, I think you could get any type of like role. Like it's not like it's kind of open. I think you were talking more about all the opportunities for companies around here, but in terms of what types of jobs, I think it really could be anything under the umbrella, like whatever you're most passionate about and focus on within the 3 disciplines, I would think.
Yeah, I think on that too, it depends on what sort of studio you get into, right? You know, the big studios, you're going to be doing something very niche. And if it's a smaller indie studio, you might have to wear a lot of different hats where you're doing a lot of different things. So,
yep. So this one was from Nathaniel. What does lab access look like with COVID restrictions in place? If we aren't on campus, how do courses adjust?
Okay, so the first thing I guess I should say is that we are slated to go back in January, provided everything stays the same. So we will be going back into the labs in January. Right now, that's governed by the provincial guidelines. So in class, in lab, this just masks, and there's no social distancing recommended for academic areas, just masks on at this point in time. So that kind of comes from the province, and those restrictions or precautions vary based on, you know, the situation, as we've seen over the last year and a half. Sometimes they go up, sometimes they go down. Kendra?
You do also have to be fully vaccinated to enter the
Right.
campus and do a daily health screening every day that you plan to enter it. And it asks you about any symptoms or any travel that you have done in the past little while.
Right. That's a good point. I forgot about. See, we haven't been on campus for a year now, so we don't pay much attention to it. Sorry, Kev, go ahead.
On top of the mask, and we've always in our labs have had a ton of Purell wipes that are in the labs, just even prior to COVID. So there's always a lot of like sanitizer and Purell wipes to wipe keyboards and your workspace and those types of things too.
Okay, I'm going to tie in. There's a couple questions about sound from Lachlan and from Dylan. So is there any focus on sound and music in the program? And like, it's basically the same question from Dylan.
I think, you know, like you're certainly not going to be learning how to write music in the program, but we do use Adobe Audition. So we give you a pretty good rundown on how to, you know, edit multi-tracks and build sound effects, and kind of work with editing sound. And yeah, like I said, collaboration wise, you know, we do tie in with the acting department. So for voice acting, and we have tied in with the broadcasting department as well, working with their students for sound.
While you're on that topic, Jacob was asking, how formally integrated are the collaboration with the other departments like broadcasting and?
So yeah, I mean, I guess as far as the voice acting goes, you know, it's we try to keep it just like the industry. So you guys are the directors, you're holding auditions, and yeah, we have a specific day where people are trying out for your roles. So we keep it very professional. It's pretty formal, I guess. And yeah, it kind of depends. It's very similar with the graphic design department when it comes with marketing materials, so building posters and websites and stuff like that. Those students, it's tied into their coursework as well. So yeah, it's very, I guess, very formal in that regard. But then we do also have some tie-ins, like with our animation class in reference that is less formal, where it's kind of, students that are interested in having work like that on their demo reels. So.
Okay, so just to follow up from Nathaniel, but I'm kind of confused about the question, Nathaniel. So, but the computers have been accessible for use, though. I am more concerned about access to the necessary hardware. I guess, do you mean if we aren't online, can you access the school's computers virtually? I just want to. Yeah, I'm still a little confused. Okay, yeah. So we do have virtual access using Splashtop to our labs. So some students use that for Photoshop. A lot of the software we use, if you have your own computer, there are free versions for students. Some aren't, and there's like some Adobe stuff you have to access through Splashtop, but you still have access to the lab computers virtually as well. Does that cover it? Maybe you can throw it in the chat. And while we're waiting, Jacob asks, are there any co-op placements?
There are no co-op placements in the 3-year program, and in the Brock program, there is a course that you can take that you can do kind of an internship program and get like a quarter credit for or something like that. We don't have them because it's really tough to do that where we're located, for one, and secondly, for you guys to get good value out of it. Oftentimes games take years and years to develop, and it takes a game studio maybe months before you're kind of productive. So for short time co-ops, it doesn't necessarily work for them. So that's why.
Okay, this one's from Lachlan. It was the second part of a question in the chat. What can a student expect to create for their professional portfolio? Will the portfolio end up being a large amount of work or smaller quality collection of work? I don't know if I think this question is relating more to, can they expect to have a portfolio when they're done college? So maybe the art people.
Yeah,
can
I guess
Kevin Conn?
I mean, we have a course in 3rd year, first off, that has kind of an exit component to it, where you're working on resumes and you're working on demo reels and portfolios. So typically, for games and animation, you're putting together a demo reel as opposed to a portfolio. If you're going for maybe a concept art position, it might be a bit of both. But yeah, your demo reel, typically is going to be about 90 seconds long, and you want to have your very best work in there. So we've had a lot of really great demo reels kind of put together, just showcasing all the work that's being done over the 3 years. And yeah, I mean, the focus on a demo reel has to be quality. But yeah, we do spend a lot of time talking about that as well. So we will definitely be covering that for sure during your time here.
And
Okay.
remember too, the demo reel can include parts of your game that you've made in your capstone game, in terms of clips and like from a programmer's perspective, he may talk about how he implemented something, but you've got clips of the game in action. It's just not an art type of thing.
Yeah, little tech demos too, right? We mentioned Wes Ducharme, who won the Ubisoft Next competition. He built a number of different tools and little tech demos that he had in the demo reel that worked really well.
All right, so Dylan asks, do we learn anything towards integrating online features? Go ahead, Kendra, we're almost wrapping up, or?
Yes, we probably have time for this question, maybe one more, and then unfortunately we have to wrap the session up just to allow to continue to other sessions.
Right. Well, we do have a course in mobile that would take that. That's dedicated to mobile game development. That takes place, I guess, in term 5, which is your 3rd year. So that would help. Jake?
In second year, we have a networking course. So the first half of the course is learning about the fundamentals of computer networking using WinSock. Then the second half is implementing networking in Unity using UNet, so like their proprietary API. So yeah, there is a course that is learning about networking.
And that's Unity's networking is still in flux, as we talk about in that course. So I guess last question potentially from Lachlan, what are a couple examples of indie studios formed by former students? Actually, I don't know if I know the names of the studios. Does anyone know the actual, like the titles? What was?
Agusha, I don't know what her studio is
Yeah.
called. There's the VR guys too.
And then there's
The Devil Cider.
Devil
Oh,
Cider.
Devil
That's the
Cider's
one.
one.
Yeah.
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 That's the one I was trying to think of. Yeah. Devil Cider. There's been a few. Devil Cider is still going. I know they partnered with Pixelnauts for some projects too. So Devil Cider is the one I can think of off the top of my head. I don't have all the other names. Anyway, I think that's
There's in I think it's Trixie is an artist for GenFanad right now, which is like an indie RuneScape classic
Okay.
inspired game. I don't remember what their company is called. I think it might just be GenFanad, but yeah, that's one I know.
But she just works there, right? She like
That's true. Yeah.
right. I just want to. I'm curious. Like I was, if they had started it with other students from other colleges or anything like that. But
Oh, there is a really great alumni or graduate Discord that's constantly growing, and it's massive, and there's a lot of information inside of there. So once you get part of the family, I believe you get access to that, and you can track a lot of stuff that's inside of there. So
Perfect.
All right. Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
thanks for coming.
Yeah,
See ya.
thanks everybody.